You are now watching The Lone Blown. Blown! Yo, what's poppin', peeps? You're back here at The Lone Blown. Thanks so much for stopping by. And today we're going to be going over a deck that's near and dear to my heart, Blacephalon. I absolutely love this deck. It's named after the channel. Well, maybe not this particular deck, but Blacephalon GX. Just Blacephalon in general, one of my all-time favorite Pokemon. And here's the reason why for this deck. You got Blazer, where you can flip up your prize card at random, try to reveal a fire energy to do some extra damage, but we're really looking at this for the Fireball Circus. Now, before I get too in-depth with this deck, you can find this deck list in the description, along with a code, Zacian to go to PTCGO You can pick up any of the cards you need for this deck. Maybe you're missing some of these Blacephalons, maybe you're looking to pick up a copy of Zacian V. Either way, you can use code Zacian at PTCGO and you can kind of grab whatever you're looking for. They have a great selection of codes, and I wholeheartedly recommend them. So, Fireball Circus can do enough damage to knock out nearly any Pokemon in the game. Your opponent's got an Eternatus in the active spot. Okay, let's hit him with Fireball Circus, 7 energies, 350, bam, knockout. That's why this deck is so crazy. It's based off of a Welder engine. You can grab Welder with your Jirachis. I mean, overall, it's got everything going for it. So let's go through these cards one by one to make sure that we can go through it. Cramorant V works great in Welder decks because you can get the access to Spit Shot to knock out one of your opponent's Pokemon on their bench for 160 damage. Dedenne-GX is basically going to be the target for this Pokemon. You can just use Spit Shot and knock it into Dedenne-GX. We also have B-Catch. If you're ever in a pinch, you could use B-Catch to search your deck for 2 cards, and then you're just kind of vibing on the B-Catch. With maybe you need Welder and Giant Hearth, something like that. B-Catch can definitely help you out there. Crobat V, like Dedenne-GX, is there to draw you some cards whenever you need it. We don't play 2 copies of Dedenne or 2 copies of Crobat because you can't use their abilities more than once per turn. But you can use a Dedenne change and you can use a dark asset per turn. So on a crazy turn, or maybe the last turn of the game, you can use both of them in combination to grab whatever you need kind of out of your deck. Blacephalon kind of went over. You want to do enough damage to knock out your opponent's Pokemon. Normally, the rule of thumb is using Fireball Circus to knock out your opponent's active Pokemon. You don't want to be like 50 damage short or 100 damage short in most cases. It's easier for you to just keep the energies in your hands. Dedenne-GX kind of went over. Jirachi allows us to grab. This deck has a lot of trainers, items, supporter stadiums that you can grab with Stellar Wish. Do remember that it does go with sleep, unlike the new Jirachi Amazing Rare from Vivid Voltage. So it is one of those things that you got to be careful for. Watching out. But luckily this deck has Scoop Up Net and it has Switch to get out of the active spots. Zacian V allows us to draw some more cards. There's no metal energy in the deck. So no Brave Blade, no attaching energies. We're just using Intrepid Sword as a draw if your hand's a little meh. Mewtwo can stack your deck with Welder or Boss Orders. You could Scoop Up Net it up, and you can put it on top for Jirachi or put it on top for Oricorio. Speaking of Oricorio, you can use Dance of Tribute if your opponent knocks out one of your Pokemon. And I mean, it's pretty easy to knock out a Blacephalon. Got 4 copies of Fire Crystal to get fire energies back in your hand. Great Ball to search out some of your Pokemon. Quick Ball allows you to grab out any of the Pokemon in your deck. Scoop Up Net, you could bring your Pokemon back to your hand as long as they are not a GX or V Pokemon. Switch allows you to switch in between, so again, a great card to go with Jirachi. Giant Hearth, you can thin your hand, but mostly you're grabbing the fire energies to attack with Fireball Circus. Boss Orders, we could bring up whatever you want. Welder, we need some way to power up our Blacephalon or our Cramorant V, and we play 19 copies of Fire Energy. Now, I do want to give a shout out to Andrew Pokehawk for coming up with this concept, or at least crushing it out. They went undefeated in Swiss at the recent Hedgester TCG events, and then proceeded to win the Crollo event the next day with this exact same list. This list has been performing very well in my limited testing with it, so let's give it a whirl, see exactly how it goes. And before we get too far, be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you like the content so far, and subscribe to the channel for more great Pokemon TCG content. Okay, let's jump into this game. So we're going to call the coin flip here. I'm going to call tails, and we won the coin flip, which is great for us. Do we want to go first? We actually don't. Most decks do want to go first. We want to play Welder on our first turn. And the reason why we want to play Welder on the first turn is because it allows us to draw cards. and it gives us the opportunity to win on the first turn of the game or take a huge lead. So maybe our opponent just has a Zacian in the active spot and we knock them out with Fireball Circus, or they start with the Dedenne. I think it gives us a much better chance. I mean, this hand's not terrible. We're just going to try to vibe out here, see what our opponent does. With them playing a Metal-type deck, this is probably a good matchup for us. Especially with us playing 19 Fire-type energy. We only need like 3 energies to knock out this Luke Metal. There's the Metal Goggles, Metal Saucer. Then we went from 3 energies needed to 6 energies needed. To be fair, I'm okay with that. So let's go Giant Hearth, discarding Cramorant V, because I don't think that's necessarily going to matter too much. We're going to grab some Fire energies. Let's go we'll go Great Ball first before Quick Ball, because it gives us a higher chance of having Pokemon in the deck. Might as well grab a Jirachi, and I'm just going to pitch that Jirachi away with for a Blacephalon, I believe. Yeah, let's just grab that. Let's go Stellar Wish here. And you want to know what? Switch seems fine to me. I'm fine to switch into this other Jirachi. I don't want to put Blacephalon down until I'm ready to take a knockouts. And I mean, that knockout could be this turn. So let's see. I mean, if they didn't have that, we would have been very close to taking a knockouts. I'm going to just vibe here. And we're just searching for some more energies for next turn. So I'm going to pass. Fingers crossed that our opponent does not find a boss orders. But if they do, there's not too much that we can do. It might just be a little bit of a rough spot, but we do have our top deck. We do have double Stellar Wish. If they knock us out, we can grab Oricorio-GX. And if they don't knock us out, I mean, we do have a Blacephalon. There's a lot of cool things that we can do. And I think it would be incredibly hard for our opponent to knock us out. They might be able to go Full Metal Wall. And now they can't use Full Metal Wall. Honorable Blacephalon, I should say. That's the same requirement of energies, so that's still 6. Because that kind of just puts them to 290 HP, and that takes away their weakness. So 6 times 5 is 300. If they use Full Metal Wall, we'll need to have 300. We'll need to have 7th energy. So that saved us an energy. I mean, the Scoop Up Net's really hot there. So we're going to grab a Fire Energy, or discard a Fire Energy, search our deck for 2 of them, because we also want to have some energies in the discard pile that we can get back with Fire Crystal. Let's go for Stellar Wish. I'm going to grab Quick Ball. Discard a Fire, search my deck for a... I'm going to search my deck for a Crobat. Scoop Up Net this. We're going to go for a Stellar Wish. Yeah, we can go for a switch, because that gets us another one. Yeah, I think I'm okay with this. I haven't been able to retreat yet either. So I'm going to bank an energy on there. I'm so close to getting it, it's not even funny. One, two, three, four, 5. Does Scoop Up Net discard? Okay, and I think we're actually good here. Be careful not to use Stellar Wish there. Get our 3 energies back. And we're gonna go Fireball Circus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That should be a knockout. 3 prize cards. I mean, that's a huge knockout for us. I mean, those are some great prize cards. We could use all 3 of those. So that made the Zacian at this point. Now, the one thing that's going to be awkward is that if our opponent gets the knockout, which, I mean, they should, our Blacephalon's really going to struggle here. Oh, okay, I'm fine. We don't have... They gave us a better hand, to be honest. Oh, and they're just going Intrepid Sword. That's actually terrible for them. I'm just going to keep this hand the way it is then. 1, 2, 3, 300. I'm just going to put that on top of the deck. Yeah, wow, we're just down to 1 prize card left, and our opponent's probably just not going to knock us out. We probably have win with Giant Hearth if our opponent does not play Chaotic Swell. The fact that they're still going for it tells me that they have a plan. Either that or they're the type of player who's going to wait until their turn's done, which I totally recommend. You never know what's going to happen in a game. There's so many games where you make a crucial misclick, or your opponent goes, the game just disconnects or something like that. Not to say that you should be waiting around for a disconnect or anything like that, because that part in itself is kind of scummy. But what I mean is, like, the game's not over till the game's over, and there's so many things where, even in, like, closer games than this, sometimes your opponent doesn't necessarily see the win con. What might be obvious to you might not be obvious to your opponents. So basically, if we're able to get a fire energy here, us putting the welder there almost hurt us. Okay, we're just gonna go welder 1 energy. No. Oh, the Scoop Up Net there is kind of hot. We're gonna go Fireball Circus for way more than enough damage necessary, but we got that game. We took it. So right here, our opponent's calling the coin flip. We lost the coin flip. That's fine. Our opponent still might opt to go first. And it's the same thing as us winning the coin flips, if you ask me. And that would have been a rough hand if we got a Pokemon. Gotta watch out for the amount of energy that this deck plays, because sometimes you're going to be stuck with these hands with just infinite energy. And you want to know what? This hand seems great. Let me tell you why. Because we can go Quick Ball and Welder in the same turn. Which means we could do some stuff. We'll see exactly what our opponent does on their first turn. The fact that they're playing a Fire-type deck, or seems like they're playing a Fire-type deck, our opponent's just scamming us with the Inteleon V. Gotta watch out here. So we got another Fire Energy. I'm totally cool with that. Let's go Quick Ball, discard a Fire Energy. I'm gonna go Crobat. Quick Ball, discard a Fire Energy for a Blacephalon. I am going to go Crobat for 3 first. You don't have to really worry about weakness here because they probably would have knocked them out. Another good thing about Blacephalon, most Pokemon will just knock you out. You don't need to really worry about weakness too much. So yeah, let's go Welder for... Or let's go, not Welder for 3, Crobat for 3. And you can see that we're slowly building up a collection of Fire Energies. We have 3 in our discard pile, 3 in our hands. Welder there. There's another Fire Energy. So we're going to be able to get the knockout, actually. And let's go Stellar Wish here. Of course, we're just going to grab another Welder. Let's go... Just to make sure, always double check how many Fire Energies you have in your discard pile. Wouldn't be surprised if our opponent just scooped the game here because they can't really do too much on their next turn. And once you're powered up, Welder could also just be a draw card. And yeah, you can see how 200 HP is a little low, making it easier for Blacephalon. If they had 210, we would have needed 1 more energy. I'm totally cool with this hand. We are completely vibing this game. I'd say we probably won before the game even started. I wonder what they're going to do with the Crobat in their hands. Or maybe they're putting the Crobat back? Okay, they could use Frostmoth and power something up. Now, if they don't have a way to get out of the active spots, they might be stuck there for a minute. It's not bad. They might be able to get a knock-kiss on us. Aqua reports. But I mean, if they're just attacking with Inteleon V, we should be fine. And Training Court is also fine because we could just get energies back. I feel pretty good about it. Opponent with the busted Bird Keeper. And they just added our last 2 prize cards on board. We probably want to go Cramorant that, and that's our win con. So, I mean, I feel really comfortable in this game right now. But we'll see. It could get weird if our opponents just, like, reset stamp and then we get a dead hand or anything like that. The Oricorio-GX is our saving grace here. We're just waiting here. Sometimes you gotta realize that your opponent might be like thinking about a lot of things, making sure that they're doing the correct play. Any extra time that you have in a game of Pokemon gives you more time to think out your plays appropriately. So just use this time to kind of plan out the rest of the game. I've kind of planned out that I'm knocking out the Inteleon V, and I'm knocking out the Dedenne-GX unless our opponent offers us an easier win condition. I wouldn't ever think about knocking out the Frostmoth in this matchup because it just doesn't work with the prize cards. I don't know why they're grabbing Zigzagoon. Maybe they're trying to pitch their hands or try to discard something. Okay. I mean, that's one way to get rid of an ability. So we don't have access to Oricorio. That's a really good play on our opponent's behalf. The Shadow Box Mimikyu blocking our Pokemon. Still, I think we're in a great spot here. Setting up Jirachi. We already have the Welder. Half the battle's done for us already. We just need to find the 4 energies. And that's a Cram. Okay, so let's just go here. I'm gonna Fire Crystal first so we can get some energies. Okay, let's go for... We should have it if we just can Stellar Wish into a Switch or Scoop Up Nets. Okay, so there's our Switch. That's awesome. Let's grab an energy back. You can see we have enough to make everything all happen. Let's go Fireball Circus 1, 2, 3, 4. So our second turn of the game, we've drawn 4 prize cards, and we're kind of putting our opponent in a position like they're like, okay, can we get the knockouts? And we put the game back into their court. And whereas we kind of have the cram for checkmate, we don't really need another Blacephalon. We just need to be able to snipe the Dedenne-GX with Spit Shot for game. But if our opponent sends up a Pokemon that's worth 2 prize cards, it might be easier for us to get the knockout with Cram. Or it might be easier for us to get a knockout with Blacephalon. We'll have to see exactly what our opponent does. But right now, the plan, I'm assuming that they're knocking out the Blacephalon, and I'm assuming that we'll be able to use Cramorants. If they're using Boss, they're probably in a really bad spot. I don't know if they know if they're going to try to put the damage on Jirachi, and they don't realize that Shadow Box only works for GX Pokemon. Okay, so let's start building up for... Before we build up anything, I guess we'll go with Great Ball. I'm just going to try to pitch some things out of our deck. Let's go Quick Ball. I wish we could go Mewtwo on top of our deck. But I'm just going to grab something like Jirachi. We probably don't need too much about it. Attach an energy there, and let's go to Dedenne-GX, ripping this hand to shreds. Now, we won't be able to take the knockout with Cramorant V as far as I'm concerned, because we'd have to switch into... I mean, I guess if we get... yeah, let's switch into Jirachi. If we don't get it, we probably can still win the game. I am going to go ahead and Great Ball, grabbing a Mewtwo. I'm not too worried about the Mewtwo. Still have 2 copies of Welders. So, I mean, we have a 1 in 8 chance. The Jirachi's a 1 in 5. It's not too bad. Let's go Stellar Wish. Yeah, you want to know what? I'm totally fine with this. I'm just going to go Scoop Up Net, send Jirachi back down. Our opponent can't take a prize card on us next turn now. They should have probably retreated into their Galarian Zigzagoon. I don't know why I was overthinking that. I sometimes forget about the auxiliary Pokemon. Don't get too locked into your track. I was so worried about knocking out the Dedenne-GX that I wasn't even thinking that our opponent can't do anything without the Frostmoth in their deck. So now that we're down to 1 prize card, even if our opponent puts down an Inteleon V, all they could do is Snipe Shot, and I'm totally cool with it. We played 19 Fires. Unfortunately, our opponent's not going to find a way. Yeah. So as you can see, this deck can go on an absolute tear. 19 energies, while it sounds funny, it just tears. It just allows you to hit into your fire energies more naturally. You can go for the large Fireball Circus. I know some peeps in the comments might be like, yo, Zach, what about energy retrieval? I mean, I'm not 100% opposed towards energy retrieval, but sometimes you need fire energies just to kick things off. And the more live fire energies you have in your hand, the higher chance you have things around getting around natural counters like Vikavolt V and other things that stop your items. So sometimes having the hard energies themselves make it a little bit better, especially if your opponent's playing Crushing Hammer Pikarom, or even in the case of like ADP, you can knock out things very quickly. You saw in Luke Metal, I was able to draw into a lot of my natural energies, and even beating the Inteleon V deck. So I mean, the deck seems to be working great. Andrew, Pokahawk Guy, crushing it out in tournaments lately with this particular list. So I mean, I think this is definitely going to be one of the best decks in the format right now. So if you're struggling to find a deck to play, I'd recommend this one. It sounds kind of hot. We might see Tapu Fini come back to try to counter Blacephalon. But until that happens, this is what we got for the list, just providing you the most competitive content available right now on YouTube, or at least trying to. So if you like the content, give this video a like. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. Again, for more of this content, check out the description for the copy and pastable list, along with some info on the sponsors. If you're looking for any of the codes or cards for this deck, go to PTCGO use code ZLASAGE5, and until next time, I'm just going to be busy creating more content, back on my weekday grind, So thank you for everyone for supporting me and watching up until this point. I'll catch up with all y'all later. Peace out and have a great one. Really hope that you enjoyed watching that video. I totally enjoyed making it. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like the video, share the video with everyone that you know, and subscribe to the channel as well. Totally appreciate all the support. We got a lot of cool things happening on the channel, so stay tuned for more. Be sure to check out the social links in the description. Thanks and have yourself a great one.